All right, welcome in. Welcome back to the BFR podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave, cover the Bears for SM, joined by Chicago Bears content creator Ficky, and of course, our producer Jack is on the sticks and going to give his opinion as well on the show. Bears Seahawks post-game show. Bears lose 6-3. Oh my God. Just saying that it is bizarre. What a horrible game to watch. We have one more game left. This one was a snooze fest. There's a lot to discuss. I don't really have a lot of words. Well, actually, I do. Thomas Brown. I didn't think we would be better off or worse off with Thomas Brown, but today, that end of game situational play calling management with the timeouts, it was bizarre. I don't know if he's worse than Matt Eberflus or just as bad. I honestly can't tell. But either way, it's shocking to still be having those conversations with another. I know he's an interim head coach, but it's like the same storyline, same, word for word, stealing everything from Flus, because this was a debacle. This was embarrassing. It's going to be it's not going to be talked about as much because this game does not matter. But boys, how are we feeling? This was incredibly hard to watch.
Bro.
Good God.
It was tough. Like, I had a tweet where it was like, all season, we've had this. We're either more likely option A. There's two options that happen when the Bears play. Option A is scenario A is where the defense shows up. And that happened a lot of our games. Defense shows up. Offense doesn't even forgets how to play football. Like, you can talk about the Titans game. You can talk about this game. There's a couple of them earlier on. Caleb's had 4 games where he's had under 150 yards. That tells me the offense doesn't know how to play. But we were in those games because the defense balled out. That's what happened today. And then inversely, what we see is what we saw last week, where it's the offense could have over 300 yards or 350, close to that, and the defense gives up 50 points, right? That's why we're 4-11. We have yet to have, other than the Panthers game, there's barely any games we've had where it's wow, both sides of the ball looked great. And again, it's just the polarity, the disparity of it all is incredible to see. And then not only that, what was hard to watch with Caleb was this man would make plays on 4th down. He had 2 balls that were snapped to the ground. He picks them up and makes it out of something, right? You see the magician type plays, the plays you saw at USC, and you're like, that is the guy, which I still think he is. So let me preface with that. But you see some throws where it's Caleb, bro, your dude is wide open. You're misthrowing him. You're throwing it in the ground. You're throwing him behind. If you think of that deep post to Rome, even if Rome was continuing to go, right, that ball was high as hell. You had plenty of time in the pocket. You didn't have many times when you had time in the pocket, but when you did, I almost felt more concerned, because when you made your plays was when the pocket was all over the place and you scrambled and made some throws. But when you sat in the pocket, I was like, oh, he's not going to deliver a dart. So I don't think that's going to be the way of the future. I think a lot of that was footing, which he talked about in his pregame show. Right. And he'll get that down. So I'm not too concerned, but it just to take that of the hot and cold, the extremity, it also was seeing how well one side of the ball plays and how the other one forgets how to play. It's been like that all season. And it's just, I know we're numb to it, but I feel like I'm losing my mind because we keep seeing the same thing over and over again. This is just like the Houston game. Houston didn't play. The offense didn't play well, but 4th quarter, guess what? Defense kept us in it enough. We had a chance to march down, win the game, right? And like you said, Dave, bad mismanagement of time. That 4th down where he's okay, we're going to, first off, the false start, right? And then we're backed up. And then the final thing, I'll end it with this, and I'll give it to you, Jack. This team has given up, I think, 67 sacks now, because I made this overlay before the game was over, and they gave up 1 more sack. Some of those are on Caleb, some are on the line. But that is the 4th most in NFL history. Let me repeat, the 4th most. That's not rookie. That's the 2nd most for a rookie. He surpassed Bryce Young in the Panthers last year. The 4th most in NFL history. That's over 100 years. This offensive line is historically bad. So I ended it, and I'll end it here. I ended the game. # fire Ryan Poles, because you have put this team in such a bad position from the trenches. It is historically bad. That's my piece. Sorry, extra long, but to you, Jack.
Vicky, take the comments here because I'm in full crash out mode.
Yeah, go ahead.
This team from top to bottom is the worst football team I've ever seen in my lifetime of 22 years, any Bears team. This right here is the worst team. I'm trying to go, my mind's all over the place. So 1, We even had a comment about it. The fact that we have an NFL kicker, a man with 32 jobs in the world, we have one that cannot kick a 57-yard field goal. We can't even attempt it. We can't even attempt the field goal because our kicker does not have the leg for it. Better yet, it'll be blocked. Number 2, Thomas Brown, the hype around him is unfathomable at this point. I feel like the offense is going backwards. It almost looks worse than Shane Waldron's. Like, honest to God, like the amount of screens, it's like that's his whole play sheet is screen. I get that Keenan Allen kind of fucking sucks now and can't catch the ball. DJ Moore, like, he's really good at catching the RPO screens, that shit. We have the talent to make a catch downfield, throw the ball downfield. The timeout management, it literally seems like there's like, we have like a secret coach or like somebody saying like, call a timeout now, like burn this one here. We don't need it. Like, it's like some demon on the sideline that's like, or like some terrorist. I don't know what it is. It's insane to me. I'm just trying to fire off the top of my head here.
You're good.
Love the Bears fans. You guys are awesome. I tweeted that earlier too. Like, you guys rock, even though you paid the McCaskies, you paid them for this year. Kind of hate you for that. The run game is just absolutely brutal. Like, DeAndre did have some nice breakouts, but like, it's impossible for Caleb to really get going. I mean, there's no fucking line. That's a whole other, we could do a 3-hour show next week. You want to do it? Dave, it's up to you. 3-hour show next week. We'll just do it all about the offensive line and how fucking atrocious they are. I cannot. Barner, I want Barner to, I hope that the entire roster, he stands in the middle of the locker room on the C, on the logo, and there's like, beat the shit out of him. Everyone beat him up. I want him fucking dead. I hate him. Who is that? Who is that? Where did he come from? Was he drafted? Was he a free agent? I swear to God, he's made
Jacob Kernham or who?
Kernham. You talking about Kernham?
Yeah. What did I say?
73.
Yeah.
He took away a great highlight. Would have been a staple for his rookie year. Caleb Williams, the Jordan throw, where it was taken away to Rome Odunze touchdown. That was disgusting. But yeah,
right.
And then the false start, but it ended up Caleb still bailed him out on that. I said it. Caleb Williams' worst enemy is his offensive line. However, there are some sacks, and we're going to go back and look at this entire year. There's going to be plenty. I would say a handful, maybe more, that are going to be on a rookie quarterback. But he's a rookie, so I get that. And he tries to play Superman. So I don't want that. I don't ever want to take that away from him. But God, there are some sacks tonight where it's like, yeah, it's the offensive line. But man, there are brutal times where it's like, man, just maybe throw it away. Maybe. And then also the coaches, I mean, it looked like Rome Odunze. This is the one play in the fourth where he looked like he was the hot route there. And Caleb, what is he even looking his way? So I'm like, it's hard. We're not in the room. We're not coaching. Right. We don't know the progressions and whatnot. But gosh, if that's not the hot route, I mean, then the coaching is just terrible. Then the coaching is terrible, which is very possible.
We know that's a fact. But Dave, even if, right, let's just say, right, there's been 67 sacks, right? Let's just say a third of them, which I think is a little too high, but we'll even go on the high end. A third of them are on Caleb Williams. That's like 20 sacks, okay? A normal team would have, if it's a third, let's say they have 35 sacks on the season, 40, right? That's only like 10 or so sacks. It's not that much. Right. Well, I mean, it is, but like, you're like, okay, we can deal with that. The problem is this team has almost given up 70 sacks. 70. That is incredible to say. And we still have one more game left. Unfortunately, there's like a concoction of the worst things possible, right? Lack of talent and injuries. Like, we think about this week, right? Why is someone like Kernerman? Why is someone like Larry Borman? Oh, because Tevin Jenkins is injured. Oh, because Braxton Jones got injured for the second time, right? And they're fair injuries, like brutal injuries. So you have that, but you also didn't have the talent to begin with. So if your ceiling is already low and you strip that away, you're basically dealing with guys you pick up from Publix that were packing bags last week. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to them. I'm just saying, though, they're not starting. Larry Borum and Jake Kernum are not starting on any NFL team, right? We're one of the worst ones in the league, and they don't even start on ours unless there's injuries. So we've talked about it so many pre-games because we go over the injury report. There's so many games this year we walk in and go, my God, this is going to be a tough one for Caleb. So I'm going to ask you guys this question, right? We know the situation going into next week, and it's Green Bay, right? Before, I was like they hadn't been, well, let's be real. When Braxton Jones was starting, when the starters were in, they're not giving up crazy amount of sacks. It'd be like 3. It's like still too many, but you're like, okay, whatever, serviceable. every time we have like 5, 6, 7 games, it's where it's like, oh, both our tackles are out, guards out, blah, blah. That's where we're at now. So going into Green Bay, and you saw how Caleb's getting killed out there. Do you start him or do you sit him? Do you want the Bears to be in a position to break an NFL record of sacks given up in a season? Like, do you want that to be put on? And maybe that's not as important, but even the health of the quarterback. So we'll start with you, Jack. What do you think? Would you start him or would you sit him?
Yeah, sitting him such a bitch made move, dude. I totally get the logic, but man, I already feel like shit. And so for like, if we go to Green Bay, like it's final week of the season and we're playing Tyson, dude. Oh God, that would just drive me crazy. I can already picture like the 80-yard stat line, 55,000 sacks. I would hate it. So I am all for starting Caleb. We started this way. Let's finish this way. Dave?
No, that's fair.
Yeah. I want to still talk about this game because I could care less about next week right now. There's just so much to talk about. But if you sit Caleb against fucking Green Bay, I mean, yeah, bitch move. I understand, probably the logic behind it, keeping him safe, don't want to, that is embarrassing. But I mean, yeah, don't do that to us. I don't want to see Tyson Bagent. I hope Braxton Jones is back. Or no, he's out. Never mind.
He's out. He's out for the season.
Fuck. Well, what about Tev? Like maybe Tevin Jenkins. Like I don't know if he's out.
Dave, I want
Jacob Kernham.
I think he's
Jacob
Kernham.
Out. Yeah, Jacob Kernham was just God. He was so bad tonight.
But Larry Bourne's awful as well. So
but yeah, you do not sit. You haven't earned the right to sit Caleb Williams right now. Like you said, I think to have him go through a full 17-game season. With all of that, everything that's all the chaos, the different coordinators, the firings, the sacks, the incompetence at such a high level throughout the entire organization from top to bottom. I mean, it is embarrassing, and I think he deserves to finish this thing out. He's earned the right. There was a comment there. I like that as well. But yeah, today it was just. I mean, he scored 3 points, man. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. It's very Bearsy. We've seen it it's like every year it's the same old story, right? But I mean, one thing that really struck me was just the crowd, though. Like this was like a playoff game. They treated this like a playoff game.
The Kyler Gordon touchdown, the place went crazy.
Yeah, and he was blowing kisses to him. I mean, the Bears defense showed up tonight, which shout out to them because they went on an 8 straight game bender, like where it was just awful.
Awful.
Like, didn't even recognize this team or at least that side of the ball. And today, I mean, to do what they did against a pretty good, maybe average offense, but I mean, they have some playmakers out there, right?